Non-vaxxed, government data confirms. Published by Vigilant News Network. Mischaracterization of vaccine status made the shot look a lot safer than it really was. Guest post by Sean Miller. Data out of the UK from the Office for National Statistics, ONS, for mortality rates in 2021 indicated a large spike in deaths for the non-COVID vaccinated, seemingly indicating that not taking the vaccine led to higher death rates. However, it has been discovered that the dead's vaccination status had been altered. A study of the UK data has indicated systematic miscategorizations of vaccination status. At first glance, the ONS data suggests that, in each of the older age groups, all-cause mortality is lower in the vaccinated than the unvaccinated. This conclusion is cast into doubt upon closer inspection of the data due to a range of fundamental inconsistencies and anomalies in the data. Whatever the explanations for these are, it is clear that the data is both unreliable and misleading, the study said in the abstract section. It has been suggested that the anomalies are the result of healthy vaccine selection bias and population differences. However, we show why the most likely explanations for the observed anomalies are a combination of systemic miscategorization of deaths between the different categories of unvaccinated and vaccinated, delayed or non-reporting of vaccinations, systemic underestimation of the proportion of unvaccinated, and/or incorrect population selection for COVID deaths. Oh, this is huge, this is huge, this is huge. Alex Berenson and others are always going on about the healthy user bias. Otherwise, healthy people were more likely to get the COVID shots, thus they should have fewer COVID deaths overall just by virtue of the fact that they are. The larger story is miscategorization bias. People who received COVID shots and then died were labeled as unvaccinated. That's the story, and that's why unvaccinated deaths spiked immediately after the vaccine rollout. That's how they hid COVID vaccine deaths and kept the rollout going, Dr. Toby Rogers said on X, formerly Twitter. Rogers' tweet referenced a Substack post from Thursday by Where Are the Numbers by Norman Fenton and Martin Neal, professors who researched the Great Pandemic of 2020 and, in their own words, challenge the global COVID-19 narrative, exposing the use and abuse of statistics. The key problem is that people who died after vaccination before April 2021 did not necessarily have their deaths recorded as vaccinated deaths, Dr. Claire Craig said on Thursday. The first England vaccine database was made public in April 2021. Prior to that, it was too chaotic to publish. The key problem is that people who died after vaccination before April 2021 did not necessarily have their deaths recorded as vaccinated deaths. InfoWars news director Rob Dew had also pointed out that in the US, people were only counted as vaccinated after 2 weeks post-second COVID shot. So those who died after their injections but before the 2 weeks were counted as non-vaccinated. Health officials made 2 weeks after the second shot the time you were fully vaccinated. If you died any time before that, you were unvaccinated. The COVID shots are known to increase in lethality after repeated doses, increase COVID infection rates, result in turbocancers, reproductive destruction, cause miscarriages, paralyzation, autoimmune disorders in the thyroid, as well as deadly headaches, seizures and heart inflammation, in addition to a multitude of serious ailments seen in massive population studies, and contain hundreds of times the allowable levels of DNA contamination, leading to mutagenic effects, as well as likely permanently altering the DNA of the vaccinated and their offspring. In the US, the CDC recommends all Americans receive their COVID shot and that young children receive extra, while Canada recommends another COVID shot for the pregnant, Indigenous, racialized, and equity deserving.
Oh my God. They hid all the deaths of the vaccinated, so the rollout continued and everybody thought it was safe and effective, but just the opposite was true. This is a crime against humanity.